Excuse me. May I have everyone's attention, please? Are you missing anybody? No? English? Alright. My name is Rafael Torres. I go to Andre Agassi College Preparatory Academy. I'm a sophomore.
My name is Michelle Garcia, and I went to Hawaii Combat School, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Thomas Hawker. I go to Coral Academy of Science, Las Vegas. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas.
My name is Brian Gong. I go to Coronado High School in Henderson, Nevada.
My name is Matthew Denbeck. I go to Coral Academy of Science, Las Vegas.
And we are Light Up the Night. Light Up the Night. Our goal as Light Up the Night is to make Boulder Highway a safer and more walkable place to be. And in order for us to do that, Boulder Highway has so much potential. But with potential comes problems. And some of the problems with Boulder Highway are that there's a lack of transportation for everyone as pedestrians. There's too much room for cars. There's not enough room for bikers and pedestrians as a whole. So, okay. And also there's a lot of concentrated car crashes. By concentrated car crashes, I mean that there's a lot of car crashes in the same area, which means we have to change this. And coming with car crashes are pedestrian fatalities. There are so many pedestrian fatalities on Boulder Highway because of these car crashes. And also, there's a very high crime rate on Boulder Highway, and because the homeless population is causing there to be a high crime rate. And finally, there's very lousy lighting on Boulder Highway. Walking down the street is not safe at night. The street lights are literally meant for the street. As a pedestrian, you will not be able to see where you're walking on the sidewalk, and it's pretty ridiculous. Here's some statistics about Boulder Highway. Between the times of 9 p.m. till 6 a.m., it is very dangerous. There's a higher probability of dying while walking on Boulder Highway. And this is because there's not enough lighting for people to see you. So crossing the streets, crossing the crosswalks, it's much more difficult to cross without cars being able to see you. And according to the Federal Highway Administration, changing a 4-lane road to a 3-lane road reduces traffic flow and reduces car crashes. So if we reduce, and my fault, but the entire span from one sidewalk to the other sidewalk is about 220 feet. And as a pedestrian myself, crossing this within about 30 to 40 seconds is not enough time for myself. So I think we should extend the times as well. And yeah. And this is my coworker, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. As Rafael said, my name is Michelle Garcia, and we believe that the huge problem on the Boulder Highway is the speed limit. And we believe that pedestrians die every day because of the speed limit, and we believe that it should be lowered from 45 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour. And the speed limit should affect arterial roads. And as you see the chart right here, it has a percentage of the deaths and injured and uninjured. And we believe we should add bike lanes, and on the bike lanes there will be green paint, so for the cyclists to see their path and where the bike lane leads them. The bike lanes will be 7 feet width, will be, the bike lanes will, stretch all over the 17 miles of Boulder Highway. And between the bike lanes and the car lanes, there will be a buffer to separate them. Some of the sidewalks on Boulder Highway aren't fully completed, and we should remodel them and widen them, the sidewalks from 6 feet to 10 feet wide. On the crosswalks, phosphorescent will be applied for the pedestrians to see their way of getting across, and the paint will absorb UV radiation during the day, and it will give off light at night so the pedestrians can see. And for the durability and the resistance elements, there will be a paint protector to give the paint like, yeah, I can't explain it. My group think we should add more light poles to the streets so passengers can see a lot more at night, and they can see the pedestrians like when they're gonna cross, and it'll be a lot easier, and it would decrease the pedestrian fatalities, and to add lights on the sidewalks as well. And now I would like to introduce you to my partner, Thomas. He's going to be talking about a new way of transportation.
Thank you, Michelle. So one of our big solutions to Boulder Highway is to add a suspension railway that will span 7.5 miles connecting downtown Las Vegas to the city of Henderson. Some advantages of adding a suspension railway is that we can encourage people to go outside and walk the railway. Because how many times do you get to ride on this? Not many times. So it has the wow factor of encouraging people to go outside. Also, since it's elevated, there won't be a risk of a car accident hitting it, causing lots of damages and losing lives. So also it is more beneficial for the environment as more people will walk, with decide to ride this instead of go drive a car. So we'll have how it works is we'll have 2 cars on this monorail. One side will take the northern end, and the other car will take the southern end, and they'll each meet up in a central station. We do this in order to decrease waiting times, which again encourages people to go outside. Also, each of these cars will have the capacity to hold 60 people. Now for the design aspect. So we based our monorail car roughly based on this design. So we will have a height of about 14 feet, a width of about 10 feet, and a length of 35 feet. As for the track itself, it will have a height of 5 feet and a width of 8 feet. Now, for the materials we're going to use to construct this monorail, we plan to use steel and reinforced cement in order to develop the pillars. We plan to use an electric motor in order to power the suspension railway so it can move. We plan to use electromagnets in order so that it hangs onto the track and there's no risk of falling. And we plan to use a fiber metal composite for the cart body. Now for the structure. We roughly based our structure off this design here, which is in Japan. So basically the design of this structure is we plan to have pillars spread around 100 feet apart. There will be a central pillar in the middle that will have 10 feet in diameter. In this, there will be a rectangular structure that is 30 by 22 feet. And within it, there will be a hole of 12 by 20 feet that allows the monorail to pass through. So, some of you might be asking, how do you board a suspended railway? Well, we plan to add stations across Boulder Highway. There'll be multi-level stations. So for the dimensions, they'll be 20 feet in height, because that's about how high the suspension railway is. They're 25 feet in width and about 35 feet in length. I now want to introduce my partner.
Thank you, Thomas. So, alright, so here's the layout of the bottom floor of the monorail station. We will include gift shops, concessions, vending machines, and most importantly, display lights to tell when the monorail will be arriving for the passengers. Also, the bottom floor will be where they buy their tickets to board the monorail. On the top floor, they will board the monorail via escalator or elevator, and there will also be railing to prevent people from falling onto the tracks. Alright, according to the APTA, monorails are very good for the environment. They don't pollute like cars or trucks, and if we use them, we can save a lot of fuel and reduce a lot of carbon monoxide emissions, especially since global warming is now a problem these days. Our pricing is equivalent to RTC's regular bus fare pricing. All passes are unlimited for that certain amount of time, except for the one-way passes, and use can still apply to the reduced fare prices by showing their high school photo ID. Now I'd like to introduce my partner, Matthew, who will conclude the presentation.
Thank you, Brian. So I'm going to be talking to you guys today about some of the stops for our monorail. The stops will be located in areas of high traffic, areas that are used frequently, like casinos, hotels, areas like parks or places of employment. A lot of these casinos are places of employment for people in the valley, and we're going to make sure to have stops around the east side cannery, Boulder Station, hotel and casino, and Samstown. For the southern car, we're going to first have a central station where the two cars meet. This is going to be at East Las Vegas Park, and the monorail station, instead of being 35 feet in length, will be 70 feet in length to allow for the two different cars to meet. So at the southernmost station, we will have Joker's Wild Casino. We will go all the way from Boulder Station at the northernmost end and go down to Joker's Wild at the southernmost. So the cost to implement these monorails, well, the great thing about this project is we didn't really have a specific budget that kept us from splurging just a little bit. I mean, it's not that much, 75 million per mile, but we feel that it's necessary to spend whatever we can in order to protect and to make our roadways better for all users of the road. This way, we try to maximize the amount of, we try to maximize the safety of our pedestrians and our users of all of our additions to the road. So, a monorail, we chose this because it's something that's suspended over the ground. Something that, if a car runs into a pillar, the monorail won't necessarily go down. But if you have a light rail on the ground, then that could potentially be a problem if a car hits it and all these people just are killed. This is a place where we don't really have that experience using these light rails. Drivers here, most of them have probably never seen such a thing. And so it might be something hard to get used to. Therefore, suspending it over the ground is our method. So $75 million per mile is our estimated cost for the monorail itself, the tracks and the pillars to support it. We don't really spare much expense here because we want to make it as supported as possible. We want to make sure that if it does have a chance of being hit or struck by a vehicle, that the whole structure doesn't go down itself. So for the individual cars, we looked at costs for the Disney World monorail, and we looked at costs for monorails in Japan and Germany, and we figured to look at the Disney World monorail because of the specifications being very similar to what the specifications of ours were. For their monorail, they have 150 million figure for 6 cars. Divide that by 6, and you'll get our price for 25 million per car. And then for our 2 initial cars, we plan on extending this eventually, but this is the initial product. 7.5 miles to connect Henderson to downtown Las Vegas. So we also plan to increase the lighting, and the price for this is probably going to be pretty expensive as well, because we want to increase the lumen count in every light we already have, and we want to add lights on the median in order for pedestrians who are walking by to be able to see the path in front of them, and for drivers to see them very well. We want to make sure that there's no chance that a driver will hit a pedestrian due to poor lighting. So per every solar sidewalk unit that we're going to add, which are lower to the ground and on the sidewalks to allow for drivers to see pedestrians much easier, it'll be about $100 for each of these posts. They're low to the ground. They're about 4 feet high, and they're spaced 25 feet apart. And then for every streetlight we add, because right now the problem with lighting is not just affecting the pedestrians; it's also affecting cars. Cars can't really see each other sometimes at night either. Sometimes we need to add a streetlight here and there in places where there's a very low density and a very low concentration of streetlights. So 11,500 is the rough figure we have for that so far. So sources of revenue and funding include funding, of course, from the federal government, organizations like the RTC, local organizations, NDOT, Nevada Department of Transportation, and then public-private partnerships. A big part of what we're going to be planning on doing is grouping up with local community partnerships, and we're going to be talking a lot with the casinos, even on the Strip. We want to eventually connect to the Strip even. We want to connect all of this together. We want to make this a community effort because we believe that the roads should go back to all road users, not just the drivers. We want to make this community somewhere you can feel safe with walking again. So we will also play advertisements inside the station and inside the monorails and outside the monorail bodies. We want to make sure that we can make sort of an alliance with the existing private industry in Las Vegas. We want to connect our organization with the valley itself. And now a special thanks, but before this we want to show our model for our monorail.
Alright, so this is the monorail this is the model I've designed for our project. So first I want to introduce this green area with a buffer. So this green right here is the bike lane, and it'll be protected by this concrete here. So before this bike lane and protector was one car lane. So we decided to take it out and replace it with a bike lane and protector to ensure cyclist safety. And within these concrete barriers, we can also add stuff like trees and lights. Of course, not these trees, because the desert. But besides the point, we can use these in order to both protect and beautify the community, so 2 functions in one. Here we have the monorail station. So this is how people will actually board the suspended railway. So here we have the crosswalks, and within here, within the station, you see this doorway. So that's the first floor. At entrance to the first floor, it's where the riders can buy their tickets, can eat food, all that stuff. And then the second floor is where people will board the suspended railway. Here I added a concrete wall, which is sort of acts as a railing, or to ensure that people don't fall off. Here is the support beam I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So if my description was a bit confusing, here's a visual presentation in order to get a better picture. Here's the track itself, and this is the monorail. We also added medium street lights in order to ensure that there's enough light on Boulder Highway for people to see. This can be an irritating program sometimes. Just zoom out. Here's also the sidewalk here. So initially, the sidewalk on Boulder Highway is around 6 feet, or in some areas there's no sidewalk at all, just a third path. So we decided to expand it to 10 feet in order to ensure that a lot of pedestrians can walk on it, and if in case in an emergency, they can move out of the way in a car crash in case a road car somehow gets us onto there.
Kind of hard to navigate.
Yeah, this took me a while to learn.
What color is that?
Yeah, John. Alright, let's do it then. Sorry. So here we have a crosswalk. So the reason I made it yellow is, like I said earlier in the presentation, we plan to add glow-in-the-dark sidewalks with full phosphorescent paint, so that's why they're yellow. And here, these are known as yield lines. So this is to tell the drivers to yield before they get to a crosswalk. And I believe that's all there is. Yeah. So I'm done concluding the model. I will take questions now.
Can you please clarify how many lanes of traffic for automobiles in each direction and where cyclists are?
Okay, so Boulder Highway in its current state has 4 lanes for cars. So what we plan to do is 4 lanes on each side. So what we plan to do is take a lane down on each side, so there'll be 3 car lanes, and replace the lane we just took out with the bike lane barrier. So an average car lane on Boulder Highway is about 12.5 feet. So we made 7 feet for the bike lane itself, and then 5.5 feet for the protector. Any more questions?
Hi guys, thanks for a good presentation. So you stated one of the reasons why you want this elevated monorail is one of the motivations was the number of streetcar deaths. So if you take a car and you run into a streetcar, it could result in deaths of people within that streetcar.
Yeah.
Have you actually found accounts of this that support this assertion?
Yeah, while we were doing this research, we did found multiple articles of a car hitting a light rail, because one of the main questions for us was whether to use a light rail or an elevated railway. Also, another reason I believe we should have an elevated railway is that the public will perceive it as more safer, since it's above the cars. Public perception is also a big thing here, because if the public does not perceive it as safe, then they're not riding even though it is safe.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add that a monorail elevated above the grounds can also offer a great view across, and potentially closer to the strip. You can see the bright lights of the strip. Everybody thinks of Vegas and associates it with the strip and bright lights, and we want to kind of get Vegas back to that and brighten the highway and make it a nice place where people can go and feel safe and invited.
Yeah. Basically, what we intend to do is, instead of just making Boulder Highway safe, we want to revise Boulder Highway, make it a tourist destination, a place where business would want to go to, revive the community, which can also take care of homeless people and crime.
I'm kind of intrigued with one of the ideas that you said about this phosphorescent paint.
Yeah.
And just have questions about, it picks up, it absorbs the light during the day and then glows at night. What if we have, I know it doesn't happen very often here, but what if we have a couple days where there is no sun or no light, or in the middle of winter where the days are shorter? How long does this phosphorescent paint last?
Well, usually, one of the good things about this is that usually, during the day, it won't really glow during the day, but at night, it usually glow, and during the night, over time, it gets dimmer to dawn, so then after dawn, it just, there's no longer closed.
Well, I'd also like to add, it has frequent use in the Netherlands, which has much more cloudy days than we do. And it actually has been very effective as not only crosswalk paint, but also street markings at night in dark, dimly lit areas. Also, it will still continue to absorb UV radiation through the clouds, although at a smaller amount, but still enough to glow, but probably not quite at the strength of what it would be on a regular sunny, bright day.
Any more questions?
I was trying to figure out, is the elevated rail in between both sides of Boulder Highway?
The elevated suspension railway is in the median.
So would the passengers be needing to cross the street to get up there, or would you also have a elevated walkway so they're not needing to be on the ground?
Well, in our design, they would have to cross the street, but we made modifications to make that safer, such as 4 lanes to 3 lanes, lowering the speed limit and making the crosswalks in the dark. That way, it's to ensure that the pedestrians are safe while crossing the street.
I'd also like to add that adding bridges and adding walkways up to the monorail, the only problem with that to me would be the potential of people who weren't meant on the monorail or who hadn't paid for their ticket yet to be getting on, or potential like homeless population or crime even. Potential like tampering, anything like that. But I do think that adding a bridge or adding a walkway up could also be a very effective measure.
Anything else?
Is it more expensive to go elevated rather than at the ground level?
Well, probably because since it's suspended, we need more materials to keep it suspended. But since it's suspended though, there's also less danger of a car crash. Because let's say a car crashed into the light rail, now you have to pay to reconstruct it again. So long term, we have it elevated to have as far as the long term, so it's cheaper long term.
We'd also like to add the fact that having an elevated monorail, it would actually not be very much more expensive than a regular light rail. I think on average it costed like 25 million more to create our monorail per mile.
Any more questions?
Will you come up and model your t-shirts?
So, I forgot to explain this in the beginning, but these are 2 spotlights shining at our name, around our name, and at the bottom, near the belt buckle, is the phosphorescent crosswalks. And then
Awesome.
on the back of our shirts, we have our name, our number, and also an STI.
Right on.
We'd also, just for a minute, we'd like to thank all of you for coming to judge, and we'd also like to thank the program, Nevada Department of Transportation, everybody involved with our program throughout the 2 weeks we've been here. It was completely free for us and all paid for by federal grants. We really, really appreciate everything and everybody who was a part of this. We all learned so much during this opportunity. And even standing here today, I'm really happy to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you, all of you from the community. You've all come out here today and given us your time. And we really, really appreciate that. Thank you. I think I speak for all of us when I say that.
And here's our baby.